and someone that can deliver the resources and deliver
Exactly.
the knowledge and to take that burden off that business owner. So instead of dealing with that, they can do one more job and turn their margins from 13 to 15% so that they're able to better receive the fruits of their labor. Because let's be honest, like in my generation, it's gone from the employees being, hold on, let me say it again. The employer, when I first started working, the employees worked for the employer. In my short career, it's almost flipped 180 to where the employer works for the employees. And so now these business owners, not only do they have all the financial investment into the business, the time investment, the sacrifice from their family, but now they also have to fight tooth and nail to appease their employees. It's a very difficult time to be a business owner, and it's even more critical that you have those people on, the speed dial.
Are you feeling some abandonment issues? Did your agent or trusted advisor ghost you, or are you losing a trusted advisor or someone you had on speed dial because of all the merger and acquisition activity that's going on in the Pacific Northwest or really across the country? Seems to be affecting every industry, but it's really been affecting the local insurance industry lately. And on this episode of the Red Bearded Risk Guy podcast, I sit down with Taryn Braseth, the CFO and one of the shareholders of LaPorte Insurance, which is the commercial insurance agency in Portland, Oregon that I call home. And we go deep on the state of the insurance industry and how these changes, how it is changing and how these changes are having a major impact on local businesses and business owners. And we get into a lot about the M&A stuff because that is a major hot topic right now. We're seeing a lot of that. But we also get into some of the new risks that are coming along. We talk a lot about the state of the cyber world and cyber crime world and how that's affecting businesses. We get a little bit into the paid leave Oregon stuff that is also on the horizon for Oregon businesses or has gone into effect this year for Oregon businesses, and just a ton that business owners will get out of this if they'll listen. It is kind of rah-rah LaPorte. Obviously, we both represent LaPorte, but we covered a ton of topics that, again, are actually impacting the day-to-day life of business leaders and owners. And so I hope that you all get a ton out of this. Make sure to review, comment, follow, subscribe, all of those good things, and we'll go ahead and get right into the episode. Hello and welcome to the Red Bearded Risk Guy podcast, the show that helps business owners and leaders with companies of 50 to 250 employees to protect their people, profits, and public relations. We help business owners maximize profits by minimizing their total cost of risk. Your host, Joshua Keene, also known as the Red Bearded Risk Guy, is a commercial insurance and benefits and risk management expert in the Pacific Northwest, but he has dedicated his career to helping businesses stay ahead of emerging business trends on all business-related challenges, not just risk and insurance. So we will get into interviews with industry experts on everything from strategy and growth to sales and marketing, corporate risk management, commercial insurance, and even motivation. These weekly conversations will provide actionable advice on the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities facing the business community. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and strategically position your business for success, then this podcast is for you. Tune in to the Red Bearded Risk Guy and join the conversation today. And also, while you're at it, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and leave a review. Thanks for being here. Everybody, welcome to the Red Bearded Risk Guy. Today I'll be interviewing Taryn Braseth. I should have got that right. We'll record it. Okay. How do you pronounce your name?
So it's Taryn Braseth, but we go by anything here. It's a real honor to be on the Red Bearded Risk Guy. As you will know, and everyone listening to the podcast will know, currently I do have my red beard, but in T-minus 3 hours and 27 minutes, I do have my barber appointment to get it cleaned up. So I kept the red beard on so we don't need to wear a wig for this one.
I guess that's just going to have to be a requirement for all future guests. They're going to have to Grow a red
I,
beard.
I think so, right? If you want to be with a legend, you got to be like the legend.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, Taryn is the CFO of LaPorte Insurance here, and we're just going to learn a little bit about his past today and some of the new things that are happening both at our company and in the industry. And yeah, just go ahead and introduce
Yeah,
yourself beyond that.
absolutely. Yeah. So I've been at LaPorte. We're starting our 13th year here at the agency. Um, Really great opportunity for me, a great opportunity at a young age to get into a position that I could really showcase my skill set and then also help the agency. So it was great. Went to college pretty locally here in Forest Grove at Pacific University. Went to high school in a small town about 30 miles north of there in Vernonia. From that, got a couple fancy degrees and played golf, which was great and fun. Came out of school with an accounting, finance, and economics degree and went into the world of public accounting. So public accounting was great, hard, long hours, but a great way, test by fire, right? Like the amount of knowledge I learned by doing that really set me where I could be where I'm at today. So that was a fun little start to my career, was doing financial statement audits, where we would go into a lot of governmental entities, school districts, fire districts, and go in and audit their books. Um, Very interesting, but I found out quickly that I'm more of a people person, and auditors don't tend to have the best relationships with their clients, right? You're not helping them, you're burdening them, you're not helping them sell widgets, you're not helping them with processes, you're either telling them what they did was right or you're telling them what they did was wrong. And I got to a point where my lifestyle wasn't fitting that. So made a move, had a great opportunity. Mark Allen, who's another shareholder here at LaPorte, he was actually college roommates with my stepdad. And so I'd grown up knowing Mark Allen, great guy, long time, great insurance agent, probably one of the best in our office here. Knowledge base is off the charts, reads the policies, knows coverage. But I was getting my tires rotated at a Les Schwab, and he randomly called and said, "Hey, we've got an opportunity here at LaPorte." Judy, who was we call her the mother of the agency. She was right here with Marv LaPorte when they started the agency back in 1978. Was getting ready to retire, and they were going to bring somebody new in. So, sometimes it's who you know, sometimes it's what you know, and sometimes it's timing. And I felt like it was kind of the merger of all three of those things.
Great. Yeah. And so before all that, you tell me a little bit about your family's background, because you
Yeah,
had some business exposure before
yeah,
going to school, right?
yeah, absolutely. So it's actually really interesting. I had my family's been in the own businesses my whole life. So on my dad's side of the family, they're located over in Eastern Oregon. They had a beer distributing company, ice distributing company, moving and storage company, trucking company. And then my dad and my uncle, the two businesses were getting kind of large and needed to separate and just kind of clean up the house a little bit. So my uncle took over the moving and storage side of the business. And then my dad took over the trucking and heavy equipment rental. So I've had that going there. We'll come back to that a little bit. My parents separated when I was a little bit younger. And so I actually grew up more in the Hillsboro, Beaverton area. And then my stepdad actually owned a handful of athletic clubs and physical therapy spots. So growing up at a very young age, we won't say how old so we don't get in trouble, but I worked at all those businesses. Super great way to grow up and learn, right? Because you're forced at a young age to be able to communicate with customers, clients, develop that work ethic, and then just also, understand and sympathize with business owners, right? Because it's not what it's like on TV. It's not glamorous. Um, Your weekends are spent on getting the business. I remember multiple times for the athletic club portion of it. Every year we'd close down the clubs for 1 week, and that was our week that we'd do all the maintenance. Right, we'd repaint, we would fix the flooring, refinish the pool, and it was one of those weeks where you worked and you worked and you worked and you worked. But it's great because it's a family, and getting to work for a family business is about as good as it gets, you know. And then as I got older, my stepdad actually moved over to Eastern Oregon and is the general manager for my dad's businesses over there. So that makes it really easy, you know. With, you know, usually families that have a separation, it's difficult on the kids. It was not difficult for us at all. Even now, my mom is the branch manager at one of their locations for my dad, which is, you know, their ex-spouses. So it makes it pretty easy on me and my family to, you know, go over and see everybody. And then just getting to work with them and see the struggle and help support them has been really fun too.
Yeah, but I can imagine, like you said, being able to sympathize with business owners. It's someone who comes into an industry like this where you're helping business owners. A lot of us are having to kind of learn trial by fire and what they're suffering and what they're facing. And so getting that hands-on in-person experience is awesome growing up with it.
It is. And then having my accounting background too, right? Because typically people go into business because they love that business, right? If you're a roofer, it's because you're really good at roofing and you're really good at roofing. If you get into going to business and you're a plumber, you're really good at plumbing and you want to do plumbing. I kind of came in, right? So I obviously had the opportunity to join the family businesses pretty easily. And, you know, if you give the truth serum to my family, they're probably were hoping that I would have got involved in the family business, just because I have a very different and unique set of skills, right? Having that nerdy accounting background, but then also being able to look somebody in the eyes and talk to them, and, you know, actually be a value add and not just a bean counter has been a pretty good skill set for me.
Yeah, that's definitely not a common mix of trades.
It's not.
The bedside manner when it comes to crunching numbers isn't always a thing. So
exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you know, LaPorte is a commercial insurance agency. You do that, but you're also the CFO, you're a shareholder. You've been in the business for a while. So tell me a little bit about, you know, what things are looking for the industry in the future, and maybe start with how it's changed since you started.
So it's been really interesting. So, you know, so I've been at LaPorte for 13 years. I would say the first 4 to 5 years, I was solely focused just on accounting and finance, getting that situated and set up. I've got a great team around me over there. And then at about that 5th year, I kind of wanted to be able to do more. I enjoy the process. I enjoy being involved in building and growing a culture. And so from that, I really got more exposed to the actual insurance side of things, which was fantastic because I've always been a firm believer, if you're in a supporting role, and I put accounting in a supporting role, I put HR in a supporting role, I put admin in a supporting role, it's critically important that you understand what butters the bread, right? So I needed to understand insurance so that I could help the staff, our sales team, our support team to better serve our clients, right? So I took a big step and got licensed, really took a lot of steps to get educated because, you know, being an accountant, I think knowledge is very important. I think knowing coverage is important. And so by doing that, I got quickly exposed to not only LaPorte and Associates and what makes us good and great, but also what is insurance and how it's changing the full marketplace. So just speaking firsthand about LaPorte and Associates, you know, we've been here since 1978. We've got a great crew of people. from the top. Marv LaPorte, still comes in the office every day. Obviously, he started the agency back in 1978, and we've got upwards of almost 70 people now. We've got great teams in not only property and casualty insurance, we've got workers' comp specialty people, we have a bonding team, we have one of the best benefits and group employee health program benefit team, and then we also have personal insurance. So the fact that I love is that LaPorte is truly a one-stop shop for all insurance needs, which is great. And then just looking at insurance as a whole, wow, it changes fast. I mean, I think every generation thinks it does change fast, right? Like the old adage, grandpa had to walk to school in 2 feet of snow uphill both ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has it built up in their head that theirs was tough. But I mean, in 13 years, things have changed monumentally. There's new coverages that come out because there's new exposures that come out, new risks. There's changes in rules and regulations. Group health insurance has monumentally changed since I've been here. Rates are going crazy. There's a lot of disruption in the marketplace. And that's really, all those things come back to, it's critical that you have somebody on your team, if you're a business owner, that you can, what I call, speed dial. Like, I'm probably setting myself back on how old I am now, but back in the day, you had those 9 digits on your phone and they were all speed dials, right? So 1 was mom, 2 was dad, 3 was your brother, 4 was your girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, it was all those ones. Well, now it's the same thing, but it's like, as a business owner, it's critical that you have that person you can call, right? And that's always been the goal of LaPorte and Associates, is your producer is that speed dial person. And it's not always just about insurance, right? Yeah. Being the fact that we're so well connected, we've got relationships with lenders, we've got relationships with human resource teams, we have relationships with lawyers. Like, there's so many things that we can bring value to our customers. And that's the best part about what we do, I think. Like, insurance is a byproduct of truly what we do. We're there as a consultant and a risk advisor.
Definitely. And you mentioned earlier, the plumber wants to do plumbing and the roofer wants to do,
because they're really good at it.
Yeah. And this is its whole own profession, where that person shouldn't be expected to know these things. They should have someone that they can just call and trust to know what they're talking about.
And someone that can deliver the resources and deliver the knowledge, and to take that burden off that business owner. So instead of dealing with that, they can do one more job and turn their margins from 13 to 15%, so that they're able to better receive the fruits of their labor. Because let's be honest, like, in my generation, it's gone from the employees being, let me say it again. The employer, when I first started working, the employees worked for the employer. In my short career, it's almost flipped 180 to where the employer works for the employees. And so now these business owners, not only do they have all the financial investment into the business, the time investment, the sacrifice from their family, but now they also have to fight tooth and nail to appease their employees. It's a very difficult time to be a business owner, and it's even more critical that you have those people on, the speed dial, right? Like, that's where it's critical, so you can compartmentalize those issues that you're dealing with, so that you can do what you do well and put food on the table.
Yeah, definitely. That's a true partner. I mean, the average insurance person is just handing you a renewal every year, maybe talking about the coverages, but we're finding, especially right now, the biggest risk to a business is losing its most important employees, or there's headhunters out there that are capitalizing on all the churn, and so there's other questions that the average not to pitch LaPorte here, but the average insurance agency is just checking those basic boxes. Here's your business auto policy, you're covered. Here's your general liability, it's rated properly, you're covered. And those are all very important things that need to be done right, but it's really the bare minimum. And
Right. It really is.
yeah.
And it's, the clients are not getting the value they deserve when those things come up, right?
Definitely. Well, I mean, you've kind of talked about, how things have changed, and so I what about, and I kind of am leading the witness here a little bit, but what about the local insurance scene in general, as far as agencies and M&A stuff, and what that looks like compared to just a couple years ago?
Yeah, so that's a really good topic to bring up. It's no story. Insurance agencies are a valuable commodity, because insurance professionals are needed everywhere. As things become more complex, there's contracts to read, coverages to apply to it. There is the value of an insurance agency. There's also a lot of money out there, venture capital money, where they're trying to produce an investment for their customers. And so what we're seeing a lot of is these venture capital companies coming in, purchasing insurance agencies because they think they can better run those insurance agencies and run them at a much higher profit. And that's good and great, right? Everything is that's great. As a business, you want to see that. The problem we're seeing with that is there's a lot of customers that are kind of being left, right? Because all of a sudden now your account manager that you worked with for 7 years isn't there anymore because they had to let her go because they're trying to increase profits for the next dividend yield. Okay, that's unfortunate. Your trusted advisor, your speed dial contact's no longer there because they were able to find somewhere else to not have him be on the employment roll, and that's how they increase their profits. So we're seeing a lot of upset in the marketplace. Oregon is a little bit of a lag in this. So we were able to see a lot more of this happening on the East Coast and in Texas, California. But now all of a sudden, the last 3 to 4 years, it really came into Oregon. It came into Oregon pretty hard. I mean, we like to say that we're the last true independent left here in the Northwest. We're a large agency. We've got great talent, great employees, and we're special now, right? Being truly independent is fantastic because it allows us, if we need to adjust what we're doing to better serve our customers and our clients. So if there's a new insurance company that's trying to come into the Oregon marketplace, they call us first because they know we have a track record that we can properly build clients with them. They know our clients are better than your traditional clients, and our loss runs have proven that over the past 10 years. And that allows us to better serve our customers. So I think there's a lot of that going on. And again, as with everything, usually when stuff like that happens, the unfortunate reality is it affects the customers and the clients the most, and they're the least involved in the process. So it's our goal to not have that happen because we've built up relationships with our customers and clients. It's important to us. We're parts of the community. They're parts of the community, and we're trying to truly serve them so that they can take care of themselves, their employees, their staffs. Like, it's pretty important to us.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And I actually have a pretty recent story. I was just meeting with a flagger, construction flagging traffic control company, and she went through that where their agency was acquired, and she had a great person she'd been working with for 10 plus years, but for whatever reason, it didn't make sense for that person to stay after the acquisition. And she wasn't even notified that this had happened. She called for that person and was automatically routed to a call center with the carrier. And it's really unusual. And this is her word. She's like, I know I'm not a huge company, but I pay over 80 grand a year for my insurance premiums. I should be able to talk to someone. And that was shocking for me too, because it's like, it's one thing to have, I hate to say it, but one person solopreneur, small policy who gets routed to a call center because there's just not a whole lot of complexity with that account.
And they're better served there, right?
Exactly.
Because they're able to get that instant response. Their coverages are much more The policies are designed for those smaller type of clients, but the policy can actually be robust enough to cover a lot of their needs. But
Yeah.
you're exactly right. When you're dealing with someone, I mean, flagging is a very interesting and unique type of business. You need to have expertise on that
Hmm.
because there's lots of there's lots of innate risk with flagging. I mean, it's one of those businesses that you need to be top of your class because something bad can happen, and something bad can be very expensive, and it can absolutely, if you don't have the proper coverage, it can be game over, and
Yeah.
that's not what we want to see.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, um, yeah,
The
it's
other thing
good.
too, talking about a little bit about insurance in general, we're in this unique environment right now with, I won't say hyperinflation, but I mean aggressive inflation. Um, there's these what they call nuclear verdicts out there now, where claims are being settled for what sounds like astronomical dollar amounts.
Yeah.
There's a lot more, in the insurance world. An umbrella policy is a coverage that goes above your traditional lines, your auto, your GL. We're seeing a lot more losses pierce that umbrella layer.
Hmm.
So those are really large losses. Um, we're also seeing, certain areas in certain parts of the nation where juries are not afraid to award very large settlements to
Yeah.
parties that have been wronged.
Well, and there's also private equity groups that are investing in
Yeah,
litigation, and
yeah, right.
so
So all of this goes through. Not to get nerdy, but like the definition of insurance is the losses of a few are paid by the premiums of the many. As losses increase, unfortunately, that exposure gets pushed into uh, markets get very, very aggressive on pricing. And again, coming back to the business owner, like it's our job to make sure we're doing everything we can to provide, first and foremost, the best coverage possible, right?
mhm.
But secondly, and we can't lie about it, we're trying to get them the best price possible too, right? Um, and that's where it's just so nice that us, particularly at LaPorte, we have so many of the top markets that we have access to that we're able to really support the customers and our clients through that time. Because unfortunately, and no one's going to want to hear this, we're going to be going into a period in the next 18 months to, I'm going to say 7 years, where insurance premiums are going to go one direction, and it's a direction that nobody likes
Yeah, and
because
options are going to shrink down.
they are, right?
Yeah.
Because let's take a look at, let's do California. So California's on the West Coast. That's fairly in our neighborhood, and it's something that Oregon and Washington can get the same exposure to. They've had wildfire losses in stacking years, right? So
Yeah.
they've had shock losses of wildfire, and not even wildfire that you think about when we're watching like TV shows. We're talking wildfires that go through cities.
Yeah.
We've never seen this before. Loss control specialists never thought that could take place. What that does is that has total upset in the marketplace because carriers are getting large amounts of losses and they weren't anticipating to have that take place. And so now you have carriers that are jumping out of the market saying, hey, we can't play here anymore. We're going to go out of the market. Okay. So back to economics, when you have less supply, but the demand stays the same, price goes up.
Hmm.
So we're seeing that. We're also seeing carriers who have taken these huge losses. So they need to increase premiums to offset their losses.
Yeah.
Prices go up. And then there's also the around the U.S. that affects everything too. I believe I talked to you the other day. How many losses have been over $1 billion in the
I
last
think it
period of
was
time?
like 18 over $1 billion catastrophic like property losses, and so
And just think
that's
about
yeah.
that. That's crazy. I mean, that used to be the once every 10 year, and like oh, it's terrible. And, uh, the nation would send support to that region. There would be, um, if it was during football season, they'd have a whole week of the football season where it's dedicated to helping the flood victims in fill in the blank city. Um, it's almost become so regular that it's just a part of the news.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're starting to see. So what that does is that changes the cost of insurance for the insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has not only a localized effect, but a national effect. So long-winded, it comes down to you got to have somebody who's on speed dial who you can trust and call to help you through this time, because it's going to be a very different and changing, as I said, 18 months to 7 years because of all these things that have been stacking up.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep going on this, but then there's cyber, which is a whole nother piece of this, which they're saying might not even be insurable in that time frame. They might not even be able to write insurance for it anymore because of how catastrophic those losses can be.
And absolutely, because we've all seen, big companies are getting hit, right? And so we'll talk about cyber for a second, just because it's so fascinating and customers need to know. Everyone always thinks, oh, Target got hit with cyber. Well, you know what? The big companies, they have the resources and the capital to truly help defend on that. Now, you can never be perfect, but they can get to a point where they're very safe. Hackers have seen how fruitful their work has been, albeit it's illegal and it's wrong, but they've seen how fruitful it can be. The next wave, when they can't start getting those big whales, they start going after that mid-market account. Well, the mid-market account, they're very successful, they're doing well, but they don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to take on something like a Target would on a go-forward basis.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, the companies that we see all the time as our clients are truly at risk of these losses. And so, we've got right now, there's a lot of carriers that still do cyber, and there's a couple carriers that are coming out that are that are cyber only, and we have access to them, and they have great tools and resources, because similar to cyber, and EPLI, the best coverage those policies provide is the training and the front end support to not have those losses.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
And that could be game changing. Similarly, like, when Washington had their ruling come in about long-term care,
mm-hmm.
and there was so many people that went to the individual market to try to get that coverage in place, that every carrier got out.
Yeah.
Because it's unfortunate, but similar to our clients being business owners, our insurance companies that were providing coverage to our clients, to our businesses too. And when they see something is going to yield a red number, they're not going to do that. Yeah. Right. And so unfortunately, we're in the middle, and sometimes we have to be in the middle, and that's the unfortunate reality of it. But it's something we just kind of have to deal with and kind of help best serve our customers.
Yeah. Yeah. And what last thing I'll say on the cyber, just because I thought of it while you were talking there, just because I actually have a fresh one here. Last few years, it was all about ransomware, and that was how people were, and that's still long-term, like where the money's going to get lost a lot of the time. But the way that it's getting in mostly now is phishing, or smishing, SMS.
Yes.
I get a text almost every day from Marv LaPorte. But it's not Marv LaPorte. It's hey, I urgently need this person's birth date so that we can send them a present on this day, or throw a surprise party, or just weird stuff like that. And
please make sure you get back to Marv immediately on that, because that would be, we all love Marv, but and those that don't know, Marv is the original shareholder of LaPorte Associates, and he's done good on technology. We've got him to the point where he can get his Blazer tickets on his phone. And so he uses his phone to call me or to get into the Blazer game. So for those of you at home, don't text Marv LaPorte, because I don't believe he knows how to text back quite yet. That's next year's goal.
Yeah. And that just helps you rule out those texts right away. If you get one from him, he doesn't know how to send
Yeah,
these.
yeah.
It's,
But on that topic, with my career also being the CFO of the agency, obviously I get targeted pretty well. And the part that I want to stress to all people out there is hackers are smart. Don't don't take what they're doing and think they're just bad people. They're brilliant.
mhm,
And how they can mimic emails is getting quite good. So we'll stay on Marv because Marv's fun. So
mhm,
Marv is the great uh, Ron Burgundy in The Office. He loves the random question mark at the end of a sentence, right?
mhm,
So that's something he always does. He'll send an email and say, "Hey, great job today, but we could do better," right?
mhm.
He also is notorious that he believes emails should be signed like a piece of paper. So he'll type his email to you, and then he will tab over 7 times and put Marv. So Marv is on the right side of the email.
Mm.
Those are two very unique things in the email game. Like, there's not
Yeah.
many people that do those two things. I'm starting to get people requesting wires, and they're doing those same things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're also, and then we've spoken about Mark Allen. Mark Allen, they've figured out Mark Allen very well too. Like, Mark Allen is, hey, straight to the point. Here's what I need. Get it done, Taryn. They've copied it to be just like it's. I can hear
Yeah.
Mark's voice when I'm reading the email to myself.
Yeah.
So they're brilliant people, and you just got to have your guards up. Take
Yeah.
the time, double check. If something feels fishy, 99% of the time it is. Um, there's never an email. That's what I would like to tell people. If someone has a true emergency, they don't email it.
Mhm.
Ready? If someone has a true emergency, they walk over to your desk or they call you on your phone.
Mhm.
So just remember, take those two things as knowledge points going forward. Is no one ever sends a SOS email.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
SOS phone call.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Well, and not to be too much of a fear monger on that note, but
Yeah,
with all this AI stuff that's coming out is cool. But one of the things that's coming out is people that have a lot of content out, like on the internet, where their voice is recorded. AI can take that voice now and sound exactly like you.
yeah.
Not just your voice, but the style and how you speak. And so we will start getting phone calls from people we know that aren't the person that we know in the near future. And
Hey, maybe AI can change my voice so I sound a little bit better, right? Like, that would be my goal in the whole process.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's a good overview of the industry overall, but I'm glad we touched on the cyber stuff just because it's been such a big
Yeah.
part of our day, but or days. But so what talk a little bit about, as much as you can without showing too much behind the curtain,
Yeah.
sort of our goals for the agency and just what are our plans and for the future of LaPorte.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just went through our goal process, the shareholder group. We're very bullish on how we're going to do this year because we've got, I would say, for the first time since what I call the Dan and Lindsay producer crew, we have some great new producers to the agency that have got their footing. So we're trying to get growth of almost 13%, which is a big number. But we have a lot of confidence in the team that we have. And we also have a lot of confidence in the markets that we have, that we can go to customers and know we're going to help them, right?
Yeah.
It's always more fun when you know you're not wasting the client's or prospect's time. When you're like, I don't know if I can truly help you. It's to the point where you can confidently talk to any customer, any client, and they can talk to their friends and say, hey, LaPorte can help you out. And it's going to happen. So that is really a positive thing. We're really staffed very well. We spoke about it a little bit earlier, but our group benefits departments, that would be like your health insurance, vision, dental, group life, disability policies, I think is one of the strongest in the region. We have access to a lot of association plans that are limited distribution that can help customers immensely when they're trying to, because we all know the one insurance cost that is a runaway train, health insurance.
Yeah.
And that train's not going to stop for a while. So having more and better options for our customers there, that's critical. And we have a great team over there. We were one of the agencies that really tried to help our customers, and kind of proves what we do, right? Is with the Oregon paid leave, a new tax that was brought in that the state allowed private plans to be an option. Well, we found out that we can save customers large amounts of money and get them better service and get them someone that they can call when there's a scenario. So all those things lead to, we're hoping for some really good growth. We've got a great team. We've got a lot of opportunities. So we're very, very excited about the year.
Yeah. On that paid leave thing real quick, that was one where, back to being like someone on speed, a lot of people just didn't even, I was surprised at how many business owners didn't know this was even on the horizon because it got delayed. I think it confused people. I just saw another example within the agency of a customer that's going private, and over the next 2 years, it's going to be 119 grand, I think, in savings.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a private carrier and not the state, where the state is trying to do a whole new thing they've never done before. And so
exactly. And that's something, I sold a lot of those coverages to prospects and clients, and it's a different one because we're helping them in a situation that's not great, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that we're helping them make a not great situation a little bit better, and the education, right? Letting them know what's coming down so they can properly budget. I was shocked at how many large size companies, but we all know, like, no one starts a company in whatever discipline they're doing because they're really excited about paying taxes, mm-hmm. or they're really excited about human resources, or, those come with the territory, but you don't start a business because you're like, I'm really excited about making a handbook, mm-hmm. right? Like, right? But it's all important parts of the process, and we can help with all those things. It's just so much. And, where I felt like, back when you were in grade school and you were drinking water from the water fountain, and every school had the one water fountain that had the little dribble of water, right? And you got used to getting really close to it.
Yeah, you just got to put your mouth on it.
And then there was the other one that had enough power to shoot across the school cafeteria, right? And so I felt like we went from a little dribble water fountain to now information and changes is the other water fountain that your head is outside of the actual water fountain to be able to drink the water. Yeah. So it just changes so fast.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, there's some stuff that's, like we said, with the rates and inflation, that's not positive, but there's also a lot of exciting things, both with just changes for the agency, but industry in general is finally catching up on technology. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of a lag there, I think, with the insurance industry. But yeah, no, that's all great. So I think we've talked a lot about the agency and insurance, and I asked you a little bit about yourself at the beginning, but I think a good way to wrap things up, and it might interest some of our audience, is tell us about your trip to Bandon.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm a former good golfer and still hanging around to be a decent golfer. And so every year, a little bit of backstory, my wife is a shareholder at an accounting firm. And so this time of year, time is very valuable. And so we always do this Bandon trip at the end of January. And it's kind of the passing of the torch, I would say, between, my work being high level stress, getting things done. And it's, the passing of the baton over to Sharon, mm-hmm. who then, now it's tax season. She's putting in 75-hour work weeks. So it's always good for me to get away. The weather was fantastic. We're so fortunate here in the Northwest to have a world-class golf resort that has, all the courses down there, I believe, are top 74 in the nation. So we're just so fortunate to get to go down there. I go down there with, high school buddies and college buddies. So great time, played well, and only got rained on for one hole. So anytime here in the state of Oregon, you can go play golf in January and get rained on one hole, it's a good time.
That's awesome. That sounds awesome. Well, I'm sure they'll be happy to hear about it, but they might be a little jealous too, but that's okay. So yeah, no, thank you so much for taking time to share with us. I've been working with you for a while, but I learned more about you, and I think our audience will definitely find your insights helpful in terms to what to expect on insurance renewals coming up in the benefits world and everything else. So
I appreciate being here on the podcast too, and supporting the Red Beard. So
awesome.
T-minus 2 hours and 10 minutes now.
Yeah. No, that's commitment to grow out and keep your red beard just for the episode. So I appreciate that.
We won't tell the audience that there's a little bit more gray in mine. We'll keep that on the down low.
Yeah. Maybe we can add some editing or something.
There we go.
At the end here. I don't know if I'm sophisticated enough to do that, but we'll see what we can do.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Good talking with you.